Yeah. We
Yeah.
can just act like we're talking in mid conversation, and then we go
Most of us.
live, and it's like, oh, we're live.
Yeah, we were talking about kitty cats and
Yep, we were. All right. Hello, everybody. It is time for Tuesday Night Book Club. This is my so-called Gen X life. My name is Natalie. Joining me tonight is one of my trusty subs and channel members, Grendelson. What's going on?
Hello. How are you?
Hello. This is going to be a fun night. Hello to everyone joining us in the chat. We got Dale, Glassmeyer, Little Joe the Moonlight Cat, Fillmore Midwest is here. Hello, Rachel. How's it going? Everybody's getting in. Everybody's joining us. Tonight we are going to, so for those of you that are new here, we are going through the book Generations by Neil Howe and William Strauss. It was written in 1991, and it is the first book of generational theory that really dives into the patterns of different generations, and it goes back to the beginning of America, and then it also projects forward into the future. That probably wasn't a very good summary of that, but we are tonight going to finish up a little bit. We're going to, with the Civil War cycle, since I didn't quite get through it all last week. And then we're going to really dive into the Great Power cycle. I'm kind of excited because we're starting to get into the generations that really kind of built the world that we are still living in a lot of, and we're getting into the big names and the big generations that really kind of built the world that we are tearing down at this point, kind of.
I don't know about you, but we're also getting into the generations where, you can point to examples in your own lifetime. For example, our first generation here, the missionary, my great grandmother was a member of. She was born in 1997, and I knew her.
That's amazing.
Lived over 100 years. So
wow.
So and then my grandparents, all three of them that I knew, were the next generation after that. So
yeah, that's super cool. And yeah, we're definitely going to get into the generations that we all have personal experience with in some way, whether through family, also through entertainment. We're going to see a lot of generations that started making movies and were on the news and the radio, and the ones that were really, really taught in American history. However, I will say, and I don't know if this was your experience with school and with history classes, but I always felt like American history classes always focused on the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and World War II, but we kind of glossed over everything in between. And between the Civil War and World War II was an amazing time in American history, and it just kind of gets glossed over in our history classes unless you really seek out a class that really focuses on industrialization and World War I and that kind of late 19th, early 20th century. But so much happened during that time.
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree. My public school education history classes were lacking in, let's say, from the 1890s to really the beginning of World War II. So
right,
and it is a period that isn't really looked at. I mean, you had the rise of literature as an art form, and to being way more influential.
Yes.
And some of the people from that generation are just still revered.
Yes. And a lot of things happened in our world in the late 19th century from, that's really where the settlers moved west and the westward expansion in the United States. It was a time of industrialization, the building of the railroad. You had the buildup of the American public school system. You had, all of these different factories being built, all of these, we were becoming a manufacturing country and all of the different, the different technology. We went from a world of total just print to radio and what's the telegraphs and telegrams and radio. So communication changed big time during this time. And so it's just I felt as I was reading through this chapter of the Great Power Cycle, which we're going to get into in a minute here, I felt like I really felt I related to this time in American history with now. Like there was a lot from the different generations that I saw that we're going to get into, that I felt like, oh, that's I kind of feel that now in a lot of ways. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on that.
I think there's something to be said about the rise of industrialization from the late 1890s to the early 1920s. Was very parallel to the rise of technology from the 1990s through the early 2000s. Very, very parallel, almost to a one-to-one level.
Yeah, and you also have like all the immigration that started coming in the country in the late 19th century, early 20th century. There's a lot of parallels between then and now, so I'm kind of excited to get into those and see where we're at with those, what we're all thinking. Let's see what we got. Some comments here. Hey, Kitaya's in the chat. Hello. Little Joe says, I was thinking of the generations and people born in 1936 saw a lot. The transfer from radio to TV, films and TV shows going from black and white to color, the assassinations of MLK, JFK, and RFK. And you're right. And also people born in the 20s and 30s went from a world of, depending on where you lived, horses and no electricity to automobiles and electricity and airplanes and space travel from, the 20s to the 60s. Refrigerators, air conditioning. Yes.
And no plumbing in some places.
Yeah. I mean, it was quite a time. It's quite a time. Rachel related. Good. It was definitely an easier read. I know that this Generations is by far the most difficult read from Strauss and Howe. As we go along in these books, they get much easier to read. This was definitely more of an academic writing than it was for, entertainment consumption.
A lot of the references are very oblique in history unless you are a very big historian. Sometimes they just drop a reference, and even I'm sitting there going, do I know what that is? Jeez.
Right. And also it shows you because they felt so comfortable in 1991 referencing a lot of these things that now we're like, wait, what? So there was things that they referenced that obviously were more common knowledge than it is now with some of these things. So
I had to look up the very first. I was like, what was the Haymarket riot again?
Yeah, totally. I had to read. Yeah, the Haymarket riot too. Hey, Melissa.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up the Civil War cycle really quick. Let me bring up the book. Share screen. All righty. Let me make this bigger. Zoom in. So, we talked about the Civil War cycle and the anomaly of the Civil War last week, where it skipped a civic generation. And we talked about whether or not it's possible that we could be going through that again, skipping a civic generation in this current cyclum that we are in, the current turning that we are in. Now, I will say that I was really hardcore on that we were going through an anomaly again. And I still think it's a possibility. However, after reading the Great Power Cycle, I kind of have a new theory. Would you all like to hear my new theory?
I'd love to hear that.
Well, it's just not even a theory. It's just a possibility, if you will. Let me bring it up.
All those, they're not a postulate. Postulate, I think, is what it is. I don't know.
So
that English is not.
I'm thinking it's possible with the rapid changing of technology and the length of the different turnings and the different crises that we've gone through and the way that we've defined generations. I think maybe it's possible that we're going to get a mix of generations that are going to fall into these different archetypes, because we've talked about how each generation has different segments. You have your cuspers and you have your core. You have your cuspers on either end and you have your core. But I say all the time how Zennials like myself, who I'm a Gen Xer, I was born in 1977, but I have a lot more in common with somebody born in 1982 than I do with somebody born in 1962. So I'm not a cusper or a core Xer. I am a Zennial. And sometimes I have to, really swallow my pride on that one because I love being a Gen Xer. But there's a lot of me that is more, God, I don't want to say it, more millennial.
We need to as a group of humans normalize that, being of the cusp generation is okay. It's fine. That is what it is.
It is what it is.
And that's one thing I do see a lot in generationology. People are not very understanding of the cusper mentality.
Right.
And they really don't give too much credence to that experience where it is wholeheartedly, something different. Somebody who was not born before Star Wars came out will never understand the absolute impact that movie had on the society and how our lives changed as a result.
Exactly.
The whole world in post Star Wars, and that's my whole theory on, how we do those generations. But,
right. And that's fair. And so that's why my theory is, what if we are going to have a civic, but the civic is going to be the Zennials and the core millennials? Yeah. So my idea is, you have your boomers are the idealists that we talk about. The Generation Jones and core Gen Xers are the reactives, like they say in the book. But then the younger, the Zennials and the core millennials, end up turning into the civic. And then the adaptive is the youngest millennials in Gen Z. And then Alpha comes up as the new idealist.
I wonder if, has the birth rates increased or have increased, although they're stopping kind of now.
Yeah, they've dropped tremendously. I wonder
if the generations are not just melding into one as well.
That's kind of another thing, yes. Because, because we've become so, for lack of a better term, wealthy as a society and so advanced technologically as a society, and because we've relied so much on tech and digital world and not the physical world, I think you're right. I think we're starting to, just like the 90s was the last decade that we can define.
Right.
I think maybe millennials are the last generation that we can really define. I don't know, or Zennials even. The reason I came up with this, the what if, could the Zennials be the civic, is because the Zennials and the oldest and the core millennials are the last group of people to remember a world before the computers and the internet were everywhere.
True.
And that is, to me, holds quite a place in this transition into this next seculum.
Pre-iPhone kids.
Right.
If you are, in a world of pre-iPhone, then,
right.
I think that's the group that you're
yes. Right. Because I had Oregon Trail in my classroom in the mid 80s. I had an Apple IIc at home. I had internet early 90s, but so I'm not as core of a Gen Xer as you would be because I'm just a couple of years younger, but that makes such a big difference. So I'm thinking that maybe if there is to be a civic generation rise, if that does truly happen like this whole theory suggests, if we're not going to be an anomaly like the Civil War, I say the civics would not be the millennials, the civics would be the Zennials, the youngest Gen Xers and the oldest millennials. I think the youngest millennials and Gen Z are becoming one. And I looked it up, and Neil House had his definition of millennial is 1981 to 2006. He's put an extra 10 years because on that, which I go back and forth on again, but these dates are so arbitrary in a lot of ways. So I
don't think that's what he says today. He says
yes, wow. That's what he says today.
I mean, I could have seen him say that back when this book was written.
Right.
but it just seems like it's just so. And the 9/11, 9/11,
To
I think,
me, I agree.
But also that's also a northern hemisphere bias too. 9/11 around the world is not that big of a deal comparatively.
Right. But this is an American book about American culture and American society. So, I mean, we've got to look at it from that perspective, which is another thing though, because our society is becoming more global as opposed to just American, and we got all these different influences that is influencing things now as well. So anyways, Little Joe agrees. That sounds right to me. I think we are civic. I mean, and I don't know. I think it could be if there's going to be a civic, that's the group of people I think is going to end up being the civic. The last ones before the internet, which would be Zennial and elder millennials. So this is just kind of something that was, poking around in my brain, and so I thought I'd just introduce that. There are more options than just skipping the civic. It's possible we'll have a civic, it's just not who you thought it would be. So exactly. So anyways, yay. I know civil does sound like so much work, but here's the thing: if we don't do it, if it gets moved on to the younger ones, they have no concept of the world of the before times. So if we don't set up the new order of our society, then it goes to the younger kids, and oh Lord, I don't feel good about that. Oh yeah, this book is for history nuts. This could be a textbook in a history class. So I mean, and this is.
It's been used as textbooks in most of sociology classes, though.
Yeah. A history, sociology, psychology. Yeah, this is definitely more of a textbook. And I kind of want to speed through it so we can get to the fourth turning. And I told you that before we started. Yeah. But then I'm like, oh, there's so much good stuff in here. But we'll just kind of see how it goes.
It's like we're on the highway to the fourth turning, but there's so many interesting sides.
Right. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
I know we want to get there in the end, but the journey is
interesting. But it just gives you so much perspective. It really this chapter on the power cycle really influenced my perspective on today's events, because it was like, oh my God, we've been through this before. We've been through this before. So Dan says Neil doesn't give 9/11 as much weight as most people do. At the rise of speaking for him, I'd say, at the risk of speaking for him, I'd say he puts 9/11 alongside the sinking of the Lusitania, World War I. That's actually a really good point, Dan. One of the biggest criticisms of Generations in the fourth turning is kind of the not minimalization, but kind of the ignoring of World War I and that kind of era. Because it's not considered a crisis, it's not considered it's just kind of glossed over until you get to the Great Depression. So 9/11 is interesting. 9/11, I can see how he would frame it that way, how Neil would frame it that way. It was a lot more when it comes along to history and what our government did in the wake of it with the war and whatnot. It wasn't as world changing. We went back to life as kind of normal, right? I mean, tried to. It wasn't as society crashing as COVID. That kind of thing.
No, but it definitely was a watershed moment that happens about these every 20 years. That makes the societal and cultural event that milestone that how that generation evolves, because
yes,
there's definitely a difference between kids who were born after 9/11 and kids who were born before. There was a freedom, there was a fear that factor that didn't exist prior.
Right.
We were, as a nation, we felt like we were invulnerable.
Right.
And for the first time since Pearl Harbor, we were. and we like freaked out,
Yeah.
And
I mean, I still call 9/11 like the before times. Like if you lived in a world the before times, like
definitely it's that moment. It's the moment of life. This is where the world changed, and you can pick one.
Right. So how that affects generational theory and all of this is still yet to be determined, honestly. Even though we are 25 years out of it, we are still in all of this. So it's hard. These are kind of things that you have to wait another 15, 20, 30 years to really parse out how these all fit in all of this.
Right. Kitaya has a good point. She says, in generation theory, they didn't give much credit for microgeneration concept.
Yeah.
I think the reason for that is that they're trying to establish the concept in general. And
right.
They knew about microgenerations and the cusps and the core, but you have to, when you're explaining a huge concept like this that hadn't really been
introduced or talked about,
you have to go from the macro to the micro, and so the micro generations are obviously going to get marginalized until the next couple of books that you go down.
And they do touch on like the older parts of a generation and the younger parts of a generation. They do touch on that throughout this book because there are differences between the people that are the first part of a generation as opposed to the younger ones. So, but no, that's a really great point, Kitaya. And it's just, this is a huge subject, a huge topic. We're starting at the macro level, and then we're going to start to drill down a little bit as these books go along. So, let me get back to the book. So the progressive generation was the adaptives, which would be considered Gen Z today. They were the adaptives of the Civil War cycle. Let's see. Let me get to let me make this bigger so we can all see it. Where is here we go. So the progressive generation would have, I'm sorry, not the Gen Z. They would be, the adaptives. So, because we skipped the civic. So this would be the Gen Z and the analogous Gen Z. On page 217, let's see where it is, where the midlife. Okay. One of the opening lines here. So the midlife gilded, so the gilded, who were the Xers of the time, gave birth to the progressive generation. So the Xer gilded were the parents of the progressives. And it says, where the midlife gilded like to build things that rewarded society's strongest and richest, these young tinkerers, the progressives, targeted their efforts toward the disadvantaged. It goes down. In politics, as in family life, their inclination was to make life gentler and more manageable. Their global credo, in Wilson's memorable words, was to make the world safe for democracy. Like their inventor peers, progressives believed that calibration and communication would eventually make America a nicer country.
Wow. Concept.
I know, right? First waivers. Yeah. For a generation to assume such an other-directed mission required unusual sensitivity and a collective identity of unusual malleability. Progressives acquired both, thanks to a life cycle that located them in an odd warp of history. They were born at the wrong time for authentic catharsis, too late for free-willing adventure, too soon for the youth-fired movements of the late 19th century. First waivers, that's what they called them. First waivers were the oldest part of a generation.
Right.
First waivers were the keep your head down teenagers of the Civil War. Last waivers came of age during the thickening social conscience of the 1870s. Throughout the 1880s, they became rising adult partners to the Gilded in a fast-growing nation still gripped in a survivalist mentality. Their social roles soon became clear: to apply their credentialed expertise toward improving what their next elders had pioneered. I like that. Yeah. They added organization to new corporations, efficiency to new assembly lines, method to new public agencies. So
they like really rolled with the Industrial Revolution and getting with the times. You know, they were really like, okay, hey, change is coming. Let's fix things.
Right.
Let's put process. We hear let's put processes in place.
Right. You know, you can't just kill people and break things. You got to go in and you got to.
The middle management of generations.
I like that, the middle management. They had 4 U.S. presidents: William McKinley, Woodrow Wilson, William Howard Taft, and Theodore Roosevelt. Let's see. Stifled by the narrowed purpose of their younger years, they envied the passion of younger missionaries while expressing relief in a newfound liberty that Wilson defined as a process of release, emancipation, and inspiration, full of breath of life, sweet and wholesome. On to page 221. I want to kind of burn through this because I really want to get to the Great Power Cycle.
Go for it.
Progressive facts. I thought this was kind of a fun progressive fact that I didn't know. The progressives included the first sizable number of Americans to attend black colleges, women's colleges, and land-grant colleges. They were also the first to earn graduate degrees in America and provided the PhD credentialed faculties that elevated American universities to their circa 1900 era of maximum prestige, culminating in the election of America's only PhD president, Woodrow Wilson. So I find it interesting that there was a lot of women and minorities going to college in the late 19th century. We're kind of told that that didn't happen. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There was a lot. Let's see. What else did I highlight?
It's crazy we've only had one PhD president.
I know, right?
Did Jimmy Carter get his? No, he didn't get his.
I don't think so.
I would have said.
Yeah, this was written in 1991, so, and I don't think that Clinton didn't have a PhD. W didn't have a PhD. Did Obama? Obama doesn't have a PhD. No. And then Trump. So no, that's the only PhD president we've had is Wilson. Let's get to the very end of this chapter. Bottom of page 226. Oops.
Lots of organizers, like I said, they're the middle.
Yeah, lots of organizers. Okay, bottom of page 226. Much of their contribution hinged on their ability to see out of the confusion of life what James described as close connection of bliss and bale, of the things that help with the things that hurt. Yet they also waffled in the face of rapid social change, vacillating on foreign policy and unwilling to forego cheap labor immigrants. They invited the flood tide of jingoism and racism that swept over America at the turn of the century. Their combination of separate but equal Jim Crow laws sealed the fate of Southern blacks, and their uncertain parental hand left lost children vulnerable to cruel economic abuse. But their irrepressible belief in human perfectibility gave a powerful boost to the liberal side of the modern American character. Yeah, they lived their life cycle in reverse. That's a good one. I did have that highlighted in my book. Yeah, that's a really good one. They lived their life cycle in reverse. So that was the progressive generation of the Civil War cycle, which brings us into chapter 10, the Great Power Cycle.
We should have a song.
We should. I know. I do need to bring up I need to have some kind of a song.
Like an electric company era song.
I like that.
Dun, 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 we're here at dun, 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 great. Spider-Man.
That would be so Gen X to turn this into an electric company episode. This is how we learn. Exactly. Power. Reactive. All right. So in the Great Power Cycle, we have the missionary generation, which were the idealists. Those would be the boomers of today. The lost generation, the reactives, the Gen Xers of their time. We also had the GI generation, the civics of their seculum, and the silent generation, the adaptives, which would be the Gen Zs of the seculum here. I absolutely went crazy on the notes. Like, I can't even tell you. Whoops. Like, the notes and the highlighting. Like, I went absolutely hog wild in this chapter.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I think, because obviously we're getting into the 20th century here, let's go ahead and start with the missionary generation.
Well, shout out to Nakati 82.
Oh, hello. Hey, this ancient Xer has been out from dawn to dusk doing spring yard cleanup. Why, I missed your first half hour. That's okay. I'm glad you made it. And all of our discussions are in a playlist on my channel called Book Club. So you can get caught up if you haven't got to see everything.
Let's get first half hour.
Huh?
We had a good first half hour.
We did. Had a good one. I can't believe it's already been a half hour. Like, it goes so fast. So I love how this chapter starts with the story of entering the atomic age. And this is obviously such a defining moment of this seculum. But let's go ahead and go into the age location of who's here. And let me bring it up. And make it a little bit bigger. Huh?
Nakati says, I love the silent gen, which is why I think I kind of like them a little more than millennials. Ah,
interesting.
I know one silent gen, my stepdad is, but he's it.
Really?
I don't know anybody else. They're all dead.
I'm trying to think. I do have a grandparent that would be considered silent. She's in her 90s. So yeah, she would be silent. But that's the only one that I have left in my family would be my grandmother. Hey Dave, how's it going?
Oh, and in case anyone wants an update, my oldest baby boomer uncle is still alive. He's
still alive.
To die. He's still alive. I mean, he's driving.
He's still going. Where's that house gonna go? All right, so this is the nice graphic from page 231 that gives us their age location for each one of these generations. So the missionaries of the time would become, well, we already said the missionaries were the idealists, the lost were the reactive, the GIs were the civic, and the silent were the adaptive. And so that's where they go in this point of history. And during the Civil War, the missionaries were born right after. They were in rising adulthood, and the lost were babies during the awakening of the late 19th century. And then we have in the Depression, the World War time, the missionaries were the elders, the lost were the midlifers, the GIs were the rising adults, and the silent were the babies. So I like these little graphs. I think they're really easy to read and kind of gives you a really nice snapshot as to where everybody was at this time in history. If we go to the bottom of page 230, it says the start of the nuclear age marked the culmination of a generational drama that was by then nearly 6 decades old. It opened in the late 1880s when a generation of indulgently raised post-Civil War youths triggered revivalism. Oh, next page.
Labor unrest.
I think I went too far. Yep.
232.
There it is. Revivalism, labor unrest. Get on there. Whoops. I'm still having a hard time learning how to. You think I'd be able to use this properly, but I can't. And the cross of gold paroxysm of William Jennings Bryan. Okay.
Little Joe, we can get you a PDF if you want to look at it.
Huh? Say what?
Little Joe is saying he's. I'm sorry. It was Nenny. I'm LASNAD was saying they're on the audiobook. And
yeah.
We can get you a PDF if you want to look at it.
Absolutely. And if you, I don't have my phone with me here, but I'm listening. I have it on Audible as well. If you go into the, there's a part in Audible when you're reading it, when you're listening to a book, that you can go in and find all of their illustrations and diagrams. It is available in there. You just have to go find it. Like, it's not, they won't just pop up when you get to that part of the book. You've got to go in and find them. I wish I had my phone with me so I could show you. But yeah, but you could also find them here on the Internet Archive, which I will put in the chat right now.
Yay!
Yay! Yeah, definitely go see if it's at the library. It's a good book.
They'll be there too. And check out all the other books too.
Yeah. I love that all of these books are really easy to get to.
Well, they were bestsellers.
Yeah. What Roosevelt describes as a mysterious cycle of generational destiny extended into the unrivaled Pax Americana of the mid-1960s, right up to LBJ's escalation of the Vietnam War. At the beginning of this 90-year epoch, the old world still regarded the United States as a frontier society, at best a minor player in world affairs. By its end, the United States had emerged as a great global power, fueled by the world's most productive economy and armed with the world's most formidable defense establishment. It truly is amazing what happened in this 90-year speculum from 1870s to the 1960s. Like, you can't even put into words the change that went through our country in those 90 years.
Go USA.
USA. I mean, seriously, we went from the Pony Express and Western Union telegrams to space travel.
I mean, and you know, we went from being an afterthought from the British Empire to, hey, British Empire what?
Yeah, that's the other one. Like, we are important.
How about the American Empire? How's that?
Right. And I think that's one thing that never really truly gets brought up in the discussions of history and foreign relations and all of this stuff is before World War II, the most of the world, especially in Europe, was really organized by monarchy. It was like, and this was in our grandparents' childhood, like, the world was monarchs and dictators and different types of countries. Like, America was so weird compared to all of these other countries. Like,
you do what now? You have elections? That's
right.
Wow.
I know. And I was like,
you actually let your people decide what they
How World War I was sparked by the assassination of Kaiser Wilhelm. Like, and you don't really think about that, but yeah, up until the early 20th century, the majority of the world was organized by monarchy. And
it was also British.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the British Empire, right? But yeah, the Western civilization, definitely.
I will say that's one thing that I just, as a little side note, we don't, as Americans, we don't focus on the collapse of the English Empire.
Yes,
as much as we should, because if we did,
we're about the only one.
Yeah, might have had a clue.
Yeah, like it's. I was talking with my brother the other day about the House of Windsor, and I was like, "Why are they still there? And why do they still have any power in the UK?"
They don't have any power.
Yeah, but they still have they're still the wealth. They still get that wealth.
Money, yeah. And if they wanted to wield the power, they could. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
You could get a king in there who just says, "Oh, Parliament, I don't really care anymore."
Right.
You know.
Yeah. And it's just especially after Queen Elizabeth died, it's just like, why are they even a part of I get the structure of the English government, and I learned a lot about that, and yes, they don't have any actual governmental power, but they're still there, and they're the wealthiest family in the whole region, and they get all of this taxpayer money. They don't have to pay taxes at all. Like, it's why do they like, why do the UK people allow that? Like, is there somebody from the UK in the chat that could explain this to me?
Weird thing. I can't, as an American, I can't understand it. But having watched the BBC for 55 years, it's normalized to me. It's just that's just the way it is. They love their monarchs, and
right,
and they love. In fact, I just went and saw Six over the weekend, the musical about the 6 wives of Henry VIII.
Oh,
which was fantastic, by the way. If you get the chance to see it on its tour, you should go see it.
Nice.
But and it talks about a lot of the stuff we're still talking about, and they just love it, and it's just built in. I mean, it's like, hey, they go 1066, baby, and I'm like, well, okay,
yeah.
well,
Yeah, the House of Lords, House of Commons. Any good resources to learn what I'm talking about in England? Oh man, that's a tough one to direct you to. I mean,
www.uk.com.
I mean, you can go into
Wikipedia and just hit the sources.
Yeah,
really.
And Wikipedia. There's a lot of classic BBC stuff on YouTube, like
there's histories of England.
Yeah, like I would, the BBC was actually a pretty great resource up until about 30 years ago, and then I don't know it went the way of every other institution, but I think it's called Prathe, Prathe. They have all of this old historical different videos and footage from from England in the 20th century. It might be a good way to just kind of get some documentaries and things like that. But to read, I'll have to look up on that and give you some stuff to look at. But yeah,
if you want good books, if you go to the bookstore, look for line of histories. I have an amazing history of Scotland from them. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I got it when Braveheart came out. This business stuff.
Nice.
Damn good. And I know it was like part of their line of the history of England, of the world. So Penguin Books always has good histories.
Awesome. Oh, BBC Archive would be another great place to go.
BBC iPlayer too. If you know how to use a VPN.
Mm-hmm.
And BBC America, not BBC America, but on Amazon, the channel. But my mom uses that to watch mystery shows.
Oh, there you go. I love it. Let's see. Oh, PBS, if you have passport membership, good stuff about UK history. That's a good one. Thank you, Kitaya. It would be super cool to be knighted. Huh?
Matt, your microphone sometimes goes a little weird, wacky.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you're having any issues.
Not good. That's not good at all. Well, let me know am I sounding okay now? Maybe it's just me moving my head around. Okay.
Could be me. I mean, I was squirting last week.
And I've got to get a new soundboard for streaming. I've got to up my streaming game. But yes, it would be super cool to be knighted. I want some cool armor. I agree with you.
Oh, who did I just like? Somebody I was just looking at. It's like, no, I don't want to be knighted.
What? That's silly. That'd be like turning down the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's like, come on, go get your flowers. Okay. Missionaries.
Hey, by the way, we should have a watch along of Excalibur sometime.
Oh, it's not a horrible idea.
Yeah,
I like it.
You want to do some history? We can do a whole history series.
Yeah. Okay, 233. The missionary generation. Did I already say that they had 4 presidents: Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, and FDR? The very bottom of the page, 233. Missionaries first appeared as the welcomed post-war youngsters of the late 1860s and 1870s, indulgently raised and educated by the midlife gilded in a world of orderly families and accelerating prosperity. They came of age horrified by what George Cabot Lodge called a world of machine guns and machine everything else, and what Stephen Crane, gazing at a coal mine, called this huge and hideous monster, grinding its mammoth jaws with unearthly and monotonous uproar. Did I have the rest of that highlighted? I did. I have it quite a bit. Okay. This inner rebellion, this inner rebellion of moral sins against laborious fathers recalled best-selling American novelist Winston Churchill in 1908, triggered the springing of a generation of ideals from a generation of commerce. Missionary first wavers, leavened by the first large influx of non-Anglo-Saxon white immigrants, entered their 20s as preachy student leaders, rebellious career women, and haymarket rioters. Last wavers reached adulthood while the fires of Chautauqua revivalism, muckraking, and labor radicalism still raged. Their tumultuous awakening defined the missionaries for life as a generation of moral pathfinders, men and women to whom any opinion was a religion once they decided it was right.
Stubborn.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of boomer in this because obviously this is the analogous generation of the boomers. I thought that was very interesting. Men and women to whom any opinion was a religion once they decided it was right. Boy, woo! We are in that world.
Can I get that embroidered in a nice hoop design?
Right. It definitely brought up. It led to the Bible Belt, Christian socialism, Greenwich Village to Wobblies. Yep. This is a very interesting generation. Going down the bottom of page 235, entering midlife around. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, a little bit before that. Where did it go? Whatever their causes, the missionary mental approach remained a generational constant, a fierce desire to make the world perfect according to standards that welled up from within. Entering midlife around World War I, this generation often found itself split into opposite camps: rural evangelicals versus urban social gospelers or modernists. Yet growing pessimism about America's future in the hands of their nihilistic lost juniors brought them together behind a common generational mission, the vindication of social good over social evil. This was a very interesting passage for me. And I think that's why I related to this time period so much, because I could see so much of it in today's times.
And do you think this is the foundation of when urban versus rural really took hold of,
I think so,
American society? I mean, actually, it's been a thing for a long time. In reading the first part of the book, I was reminded that Jefferson and the agrarian group of farmers were, wanted this perfect commercial lifestyle,
right?
And Adams and others were like, no, we're moving forward as a progressive society,
right?
In urban area. So
urban areas, yes.
Yeah, urban areas as they were in the 1700s. So I know it goes back to at least there, but I think, is this really the first modern equivalent of shots being fired?
Right. Oh, by the way, we're talking about the missionaries right now, but they are the boomers of their seculum. So that's why I always bring up the boomers, because I'm trying to be analogous to today's times. But we are talking about the missionaries, and yeah, I think, because we have to remember that the way that societies were set up before this time was very agrarian, very farm. I'm on my land. I'm on my Lord's land and working it, or I'm on the whole setup of rural and urban. Really, as we would think of it today, I think you're right. I think this is the birth of that, because we were setting up our towns or our cities in these very urban ways. But then because not every man had to be a farmer. Not every man had to work their own land and provide for their family. Men could now be professionals. They could go in and they could, and so our society was changing and splitting into urban and rural.
And as you're seeing as well, not just men, women, and freed African Americans as well. So and add to that the influx of immigrants from overseas.
Hold on, Brad, stop being an asshole. We were talking about a book, so if you're bored, go elsewhere. I hate when people get on and do that kind of crap. Either contribute to the conversation, or if you don't want to watch, go elsewhere. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Lay us to smack us down.
I know. I just, I'm sorry that I'm not singing and dancing for you. The Missionaries, that's Laura Ingalls. That is correct, Little Joe. We are currently watching Little House on the Prairie. So, yeah, missionaries that were born from 1860 to 1882. Let's see here. And it's a very, very weird generation.
Again, post-war babies. Yeah.
Yeah, post-war babies.
Post-major war babies. I mean, even the World War II babies have their own, unique.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, World War I babies. What about
yeah. This is I love on page 237. It says, this is a first generation to which many living Americans feel a personal connection. Today's elders, which was 1991, recall missionaries as history saw them last, as the visionary leaders who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II. So this is a generation that built a lot of the things and a lot of the norms and institutions that we take for granted now. A lot of them that are getting kind of torn apart right now and rebuild into something else. I know they're doing a Little House on the Prairie reboot. We're not going to talk about that. I reject all reboots these days.
Galactica's reboot was way better than the original.
I know, but that was also 25 years ago. And
remind me.
And we're also watching Cobra Kai, which is my favorite update or continuation.
That's not a reboot, it's an update. It
is. It's good, but it builds on the IP. Page 239, missionary women. Here's some stats or some fun things about the missionary generation. Where did it go? Let me pull over to the next page. Page 239. Missionary women married at a higher average age than women of any other American generation until the boom. As late as 1915, 2 of every 5 1880s era women's college graduate remained single. 9% of all missionary women had never married by age 60, the largest share ever recorded for that age. The 1890s were a boom time for being single, write historians Ruth Freeman and Patricia Klaus of the first generation of bachelor women, who took pride in calling themselves spinsters. So that was very interesting. I don't know a lot about women's history prior to the 20th century, so I feel like I get taught so much that women didn't get to do anything until the 1970s. So and it's not true. So I find it very interesting that there were so many single women and spinsters back then. I consider I always call myself a spinster to be funny. So up next, through their life cycle, missionaries entirely redefined the role of women in American public life. Around the turn of the century, missionary women surged into previously all-male professions. Law, theology, medicine, dentistry, journalism became the first female secretaries and began to monopolize primary school teaching. According to historian James McGovern, the great leap forward in women's participation in economic life came between 1900 and 1910. In politics, moreover, missionary women stood at the head of their generation's 2 successful constitutional amendments, women's suffrage and prohibition. 19 missionary women won election to Congress versus 2 women from all prior generations combined. All right.
Yeah, women were really on the rise with the missionary, which is awesome.
It was. It's just we don't. Again, this part of history just gets glossed over in every class I've ever been in.
Yeah, because of the men of the later generations were the ones who were writing the history books.
A lot of times, yes.
And those men didn't really want to, highlight anything that didn't make them, as white males, look superior.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Till the 70s. Till the 70s anyway, but even that.
Wow. As for the men here, when they were combat age, missionary men faced a lower risk of dying in war than any other American generation, yet none can match the missionaries for crusading zeal abroad. In all 3 wars of their life cycle, and they had a lot of wars in their life cycle, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and World War II, they led the call for intervention, often over resistance from their elders or juniors. So they were definitely leading the wars around the world.
And they living longer.
Hey, Dave. How's it going? To the missionary life cycle. In their youth, over on page 240, missionaries were the indulged children of the Gilded Age, an age of big constructions, rapid economic expansion, and an adult belief in science and experience over faith. Older generations felt themselves living in a rapidly modernizing era whose main shortcomings were ethical and could someday be remedied by the young. Again, I felt a lot of commonality with these people. I'm like, oh my goodness. Another thing on top of page 241, when Gilded Era science elevated mama in a child's eye, it pushed papa into a world of adult competition outside the home, a world many children would later condemn as spiritually hollow. I thought was very interesting. So again, not every man had to be a farmer and be at home. That this was a time when people were becoming professionals, men and women, and taking on professions instead of. So the idea of just surviving, I have to make sure my family has food and water and shelter, and this is our spot, and we're going to take care of it. Like, we went from survival, like this is where the wealth really kicked in, and we could do other things besides just worry about surviving. Does that make sense? Am I overthinking this too much?
No, I think you're spot on.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay. Wrapping up this generation, the missionaries. I'm going to talk.
Missionaries were mama's boys. Let's talk about.
Yeah, missionaries were mama's boys. That is correct. Page 243, and this will be the last where we're going to talk about the missionaries. As their spiritual energy split into separate streams, 2 missionary-propelled inventions, the Wright brothers' airplane and the automobile of Henry Ford, Alfred Sloan, and Walter Chrysler, joined technology to the individuating of inner aspirations. Boy, I feel that. Migrating and commuting far more than their progressive elders at like age, missionary rising adults embraced new social inventions like the vacation, motel, suburb, and country club. A number of rural-born authors fled eastward. There's having been the first large generation of Western frontier babies, where they criticized what Sherwood Anderson labeled lives of quiet desperation in rural small towns. Here comes the split between the rural and the urban, and I think the writers had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I loathed you, Spoon River, wrote Edgar Lee Masters. I tried to rise above you. That became a big trope in all kinds of media, not just books, and in TV and movies going down the line. Escaping from your small town and going to the big city and doing big things.
I took a whole course at UCLA about the novel of the early 19th century, and yep, pretty much.
Yep. Talk about a trope.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Avoiding marriage. This was very interesting. Avoiding marriage, many 30-ish women ignored popular warnings that the home is in peril and wondered, along with novelist Ellen Glasgow, why they must sit at home and grow shapeless and have babies galore. Those who did start families rejected the stodgy Victorianism of their parents and sought simpler lives, the servantless kitchen, and smaller houses, what historian Gwendolyn Wright calls the new minimalist house. Self-assured, righteous, and generally intolerant as they approached midlife positions of power, the missionaries reflected a sublimated sexuality among a generation whose men and women tacitly agreed to look upon one another as sexless. I can't even believe this was even a topic of discussion back then. While the tall, mannish Gibson girl became the symbol of young women invading the male professional world, muckraking and ministerial young men laid claim to a moral pedestal the gilded had left to the lady. And there you have it, and there you are. Those are the missionaries.
The baby boomers of their time.
The baby boomers of their time.
Yes.
Yep. There's more to it than that, but we're already an hour into this, and I want to get through we're going to get through the lost generation tonight, and then we're going to wrap it up, and we will finish up the great power cycle next week. But I really wanted to get to the lost generation because they are the analogous generation to Gen X. They are the reactives. These are the ones that led us through World War II. These are the guys that dropped the bomb. Truman and Eisenhower were the two lost generation presidents, which I find very, I don't know. I guess it makes sense. I'm always attracted to the Gen X generation in each seculum. So I always want to focus on them. Of course, it makes sense that I would.
Well, yeah, how else are we going to understand where we are if we don't
exactly exactly
our contemporary analogies are?
And I find a lot of comfort in the fact that there were other generations like ours, because for so long I felt like Gen X was this weird generation that just got lost in the shuffle, but
only to find
only to find that it happens every time.
Yeah, and we ain't special.
No.
We're just the next generation in a long line of generations that get the shaft from their previous. Although I don't think there's been any other generation quite as influential and long-lived as those damn baby boomers. And that's what we're having, because there's just certainly no generation has ever been as scrutinized or has really, let's face it, without the baby boomers, we wouldn't even be talking about this stuff, because we wouldn't be
what? Without the baby boomers, what?
We wouldn't be talking about generationology.
Right.
Because
that's true.
That's the whole reason why we started thinking about this kind of stuff.
Right. And all these names for all these generations that we're going through, the missionary, the gilded, all of these were named by Strauss and Howe. These are all new concepts. None of this was, the baby boomers were identified as a generation, and that was it. Then they started going back to all the other stuff, and they are the ones that really kind of started to flesh this out. Now, one thing about the lost generation and Generation X, and it's mentioned in this book, but I'm going to bring it up now. There's a movie that came out in 1988 all about a man who was a lost generation and a Gen Xer, his grandson, and they swap bodies. And it's free on YouTube. We can't sit here and watch it, but it is free on YouTube. It's called 18 Again, and I'm going to bring up the trailer. And I think it's very interesting because it's a lost generation and a Gen Xer. If you guys haven't seen it, I watched it when I was little. But here's the trailer.
You're muted. You're muted. She's muted. You did see Polly Shore.
Sorry. I was muted. I muted myself during the trailer. So yeah, I haven't seen this since 88. It is free on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. Yes, you did see Polly Shore in the classroom. Can you guys hear me now? Okay.
Tony Roberts.
And
Tony Roberts used to do those Woody Allen movies.
Yep. So yeah, TV. We don't talk about TV Ferris. Yes, he was TV Ferris, but let's not talk about that. Anyways, I thought that was very interesting that there was a movie out there with the two generations where they switch places. I just wanted to throw it out there.
And that was Runyon, yeah?
Huh?
Wasn't that Jennifer Runyon?
Yes, that was Jennifer. That's her name, Jennifer Runyon. Yes, coming in loud and clear. Good deal.
Yeah,
So yeah, Pauly Shore, Jennifer Runyon, both in that, and of course George Burns, who was he was when I was little. George Burns was, you know, the old guy, the old dirty comedian that my mom and dad wouldn't let me listen to. I don't know. Did you ever watch George Burns?
Dirty.
Yeah. They always told me he was he was dirty, like later on in his life. I don't know.
I don't remember George Burns. Red Fox, I know, was dirty as that.
Right. Right.
You know, George Burns. I actually knew George Burns. Yeah, of course, from Oh God and everything. But
right, maybe that's what it was that they. I don't know why but he was just not one that was allowed to watch him. We just didn't watch him. So.
Wow. You know, I remember because when the Disney Channel first came on cable, one of the things they ran was the old Burns and Allen show.
Yes, and that
is hilarious.
It is fantastic. Yeah. And that's where I found him later in life, was Burns and Allen. Yeah.
Gracie Allen, by the way, if you guys don't know, Gracie Allen was a freaking treasure.
Oh my gosh.
And watch some of their old bits.
Please.
It's so good.
It's good stuff. Really they were on I watch What's My Line all the time because I'm a total geek, and they were on What's My Line a couple of times, and it was so good. Just, you know, the way she talked to George. Good night, Gracie.
The brilliant one behind everything too.
Oh, she was. Yeah, she was. And when he lost her, he never remarried. He never was with another woman.
His career went into the shitter for a long time. He just decided to do the Catskills, and he didn't get another big break until Oh God.
Oh God. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And he was already old.
Yes, Jennifer Runyon did just pass away. She was 65 and she died of cancer last week. That is correct. So sad.
Did you know that she and Willie Ames were still really close?
I did not know that until I saw his post. Him and Scott Baio both posted about her because of Charles in Charge. And there was a lot of people that posted about her that I was kind of surprised. I mean,
that opening scene of Ghostbusters.
Classic. Yeah.
It is a star.
It was.
You can't see these, right?
Yep. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's all right. No, we're good. I just want to make sure that we get through this, and then we'll wrap things up. So Lost Generation. These were our spirit animals of the early 20th century. I like to see the people that were in the generation.
Oh my God, it's like
it's unreal.
Literally, because there's Al Capone.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
That members list is just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. We got Sinclair Lewis, George Patton, Irving Berlin, Walter Lippmann, Earl Warren, Nicholas Sacco, Reinhold Niebuhr, Mae West, Dorothy Parker, Norman Rockwell, J. Edgar Hoover, Babe Ruth, George Burns, F. Scott Fitzgerald. I think I noticed that I've read a lot of Fitzgerald and Hemingway in my life, and I realize now, I think that's probably, there's a reason why I was so attracted to Fitzgerald and Hemingway.
I mean, that's what my whole thing was going to be, how Hemingway and Fitzgerald are probably two of the single most influential American writers of the 20th century. And they're both from that generation.
Yeah.
There's just no... Love him or hate him, he is so influential.
Yeah, and what was very interesting was that generation really influenced culture, literature, and that kind of music, art, but it was very light on the politics side. They did get 2 presidents, but they are the ones that had to be like, all right, we're going to go in and we're going to do this.
Well, look over here where it's the prominent foreign peers and see if there's one there between 3, maybe 4 of the people. I don't think Charlie Chaplin was a fascist, but I'm thinking that maybe they were a fascist politicians.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mussolini literally created fascism. And then we got Hitler.
Hitler turned it into an art form.
Yeah. And then we got,
and now said, hold my beer.
Yeah, I wonder where Stalin was on all this. When was Stalin born?
Stalin was what is Stalin?
1878.
Oh, so he's
also in there. He's also lost. They just decided not to add him.
They say 1883, but 1878.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 1878. You're right. Next one. That was the previous generation. But yeah, then Mussolini, Hitler, De Gaulle, and Mao. I mean, it's crazy.
We fascists in here, take our country.
Yeah. They only had a plurality in the House for about 15 years. Same with the Senate. Majority of the Supreme Court throughout the 40s and 50s into the 60s. I like this history and life cycle. When they were kids, Ellis Island quarantine begins for a new flood of poor immigrants. The first Nickelodeons and Jelly Beans. The word adolescent was coined in 1905.
That's crazy.
1912, child labor peaks, sinking of the Titanic. The Doughboys come home to crack down on drinking, drugs, and crime. Valentine's Day gangland massacre. This was a very interesting life cycle as well. And they also went from the change of the printed word to the radio and that kind of a thing. So
radio is big for them.
Yeah. That was definitely their internet at the time. Sample cultural endowments: The Great Gatsby, The Wasteland, Babbitt, Sound and Fury, Monkey Business, Creative and Advertising Man, American in Paris, 8 Misbehaving, Maltese Falcon, Big Sleep. I mean, come on. So much stuff. And this is going to be the generation, like when we watch The Century of the Self, after we get through this book over on the Discord. I don't know if I can watch it over here or not because it's owned by the BBC. It's a BBC documentary. So I don't know if they're going to let us watch it here. But these are the generations where The Century of the Self really hit hard.
By the way, Matt's Discord channel is pretty darn awesome.
And, thank you.
You guys, you should really hit that up. I try to hit it up whenever I can remember. I was there for like 2 seconds last night going, what are we watching? Oh, Hackers.
Yeah. Last night we did a double feature of Hackers and The Money Pit last night. It was really fun.
Now I would have done Hackers and Sneakers myself, but that's just
I didn't want to do both of those in the same night. I wanted to, I wanted to do some drama and some comedy, but I had a lot of people tell me that they wanted to watch Sneakers. So it's coming, I promise. There's my Discord link. If you guys are not my Discord, come say hi. We get to watch all kinds of stuff together. And then there's all kinds of different chat rooms to talk about all kinds of different stuff. And it's all Gen Xers. There's no advertising. There's no, you don't have to pay for anything. So
I'm really fond of Incredible Hulk Night myself, but that's just
say that again.
I'm really fond of Incredible Hulk Night.
Oh yeah, Incredible Hulk Night's Thursday night.
Of Lonely Man.
Yes.
I need my 2 Hulk outs per episode.
Yep.
I need to see my David, whatever his B last name is.
David B. Yeah. So Wednesday night we do Little House. Wednesday night we do Little House and Cobra Kai. Thursday nights we do Incredible Hulk. So it's kind of fun. It's fun to watch something weekly with other people, like we did in the olden days, in the before times. Okay. So we got through all of the big names in the Lost generation.
But only 2 presidents because you guys.
I'm going to start on the bottom of 247 and then continue on the top of 249. The story began of the Lost generation with streetwise kids who grew up fast, too late to join in the spiritual high of their next elders, but fast enough to stay one step ahead of missionary efforts to clean them up later on. They were, wrote Fitzgerald, a new generation dedicated more than the last to the fear of poverty and the worship of success, grown up to find all gods dead, all wars fought, all faiths in man shaken. So they lashed back at the lies of the old men and the finger wagging of grim dowagers. They led America through a dazzling decade, waiting for Hemingway's bell to toll for them. When it did, with the stock crash and depression, they fell back exhausted at first and then stepped forward as clear-eyed managers for their elders and as selfless protectors of their juniors. The Great Depression dealt them its cruelest blow, robbing them of what should have been their peak income years and ushering in public action that ran against their grain. But lacking confidence in their own moral judgments, the Lost joined the national effort, lending what they liked to call brains and what was in effect a keen realism about human nature. After providing outstanding generalship in World War II, gaining top command by the war's end, the Lost mellowed into a cautious old age. Their elder survivors presided as social anchors over an era of strengthening families, warm nurture of the young, and sharply improving economic fortunes for the generations behind them. Yeah, I really felt that. I feel like when it says the Great Depression dealt them its cruelest blow, robbing them of what should have been their peak income years, I felt like that was 9/11 and the 2008 financial crisis for us. When we got into our peak, it should have been our peak income years, the aughts into the tens, the economy just went haywire. We had the housing market bubble burst, the 2008 crash, the Occupy, the bailouts, Occupy, all that stuff. Now, some of us were able to recover, but still, I felt that.
And that's interesting. It's more of I think that's definitely more of a late Gen X or Zennial thing, because core and early Gen Xers, we did get some decent economic time periods and prosperity.
Yeah. You guys were the last chopper out of Nam.
Yeah, we were between 93 and let's say, 98 or 99.
Right.
The economy was chugging.
It was. I was in high school and college at the time, and we had nothing but possibilities for when we got out,
In my mid-20s, I was earning way more comparatively than what kids make now.
Right.
So what people in 20s made now. So
yeah,
we got a little bit of that.
Some of them definitely did. Some of them definitely did. They were, like I said, but it just depended on where you were and who you were connected to, because some of them didn't. And our generation really split with the haves and the have-nots. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that it happened to the younger of us, but not necessarily the older when it hit. But yeah, it had been really nice to have some, like when I got out of college, I graduated college in 2000. So 1 year before 9/11. And my first job out of college, I made about 40 grand plus benefits my first job. And that was 25 years ago. So, I mean, I made 40 grand like 3 or 4 years ago. So like I had my income has my income kind of, it went up a little bit, but also went down. It's like I haven't really progressed into the, now that I'm on YouTube, it's gotten a little bit better, but I had to make that happen. And it was just a luck of the draw kind of thing. But I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't doing YouTube right now, and how much money I would be making. I can't imagine it would be much more than what I was making 25 years ago. It's just weird. And plus all the inflation and everything that we've had. But yeah.
I literally watched the price go up on gas yesterday.
Yeah. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down where I'm at. One day it's $2.79, one day it's $2.99, one day it's $2.49. Like it's going crazy right now.
Are you kidding me? $2.90? Oh my God.
Oh, it's $2.49 right now.
You know how much?
You're in California.
It's like some stations are already over $6.
Oh my God.
Well, we have our own damn refineries, and we have the custom fuel blend, so that our smog doesn't get worse, which listen, I remember the 70s, okay? I'm happier paying a little more for gas if our smog is not going to get back to that level.
Right.
So for that I will say it's okay, I understand. But yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I can't imagine paying that much for gas. It got before the Middle East thing flared up a couple of weeks ago. It was down to like $2.09. It was about to get below $2, but now it's flailed back up a little bit. But yeah,
$99 this morning.
I can't even imagine. Black Monday. Are you talking about the stock market crash in '87? When the
in 1929, the real one.
Yeah, I think Black Monday was the '87 crash. I think the market was at like 5,000 and it dropped like 500 points, which was 10% of the market at the time. Ooh. But now 500 points would be like
that's a normal Monday.
Yeah. But I think that's what Black Monday is. Yeah. Okay.
Little Joe, you remember 2 years of the 70s? I can. My memory starts about 1973.
It was October of '87. I don't remember any of the 70s. Huh?
I remember it was near Wall Street when the movie came out.
Yeah. I remember October of '87 very well because that was the year the Cardinals were in the World Series and playing the Twins. It was also the month of Baby Jessica. Baby Jessica happened like I think the week of the stock market crash or the week after. But I remember it well. I have my memory is all by historical news and footage and dates and song releases and movie releases. That's how I remember things. I have a really weird memory of how I
compartmentalize it.
Yeah. All right, Lost Generation Facts, page 252. I loved this. No other generation of children ever purchased such a large share of its total consumption with self-earned income. Lost pocket cash sustained America's first child-only retailers, candy stores and Nickelodeons, and nationally marketed sweets, including jelly beans, Tootsie Rolls, Hershey bars, and bubblegum. From 1889 to 1922, the Lost Sweet Tooth propelled a doubling in per capita sugar consumption to about 100 pounds annually, about where it remains today. In the 1920s, sugar became a term of endearment. I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, the markets for kids started popping up because things weren't marketed to children up until this generation. This is when they said they had the candy stores and the Nickelodeons and things for kids. That was a new thing.
Yeah, kids having what's the term?
Economic power. Yeah. Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, by the way, the average American consumes roughly 60 to 100 pounds of added sugar annually. Still.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that came from them.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, when you think of it, was 60 to 100. That's getting lower.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Lost were America's first generation to grow up amid widespread adult-approved narcotics use.
I love this part.
Yeah. In 1900, while opium and chloral hydrate consumption was still rising, many other newly synthesized and unregulated drugs were entering the marketplace, including paraldehyde, sulfonal, veronal, and heroin. Cocaine, or coca, a wondrous midlife discovery to Sigmund Freud, Sherlock Holmes, and many like-age progressives in America, was routinely sold in cough syrup, lozenges, and until 1904, Coca-Cola. Yet when the missionaries rose to power on the eve of World War I, the Lost took most of the blame for drug-related violence and crime. I thought that was very interesting. Oh, the Lost.
It's interesting that they don't all talk about marijuana, which was getting big. Right?
I know. That was a very interesting one. Yeah.
20s, yeah.
Well,
and the Lost would have been the first generation to really embrace the new reefer.
Yeah, that's what you could say it. You could say it.
Well, I just smoked it.
Yeah, I need to do that too. There we go. Hit by the Great Depression during their midlife earning years, the Lost occupied the one age bracket never targeted by a New Deal relief program. I thought that was very interesting. I don't think Generation X has ever been targeted by any kind of program, like any kind of relief program or any, like the boomers, everything has been like, can you think of any kind of program of any kind, a jobs program, a relief program, anything that was targeted at us? Because I sure as heck can't.
I don't think DARE counts. So
yeah, that wasn't from the federal government. That was from the LA school system, the LA police. I mean, but I mean,
I don't. Yeah, no, I can't.
I thought that was very. Yeah, it got me thinking. I was like, wait, I don't think we ever got one after the war.
That didn't really do that.
You know, after the war, as GIs built and inhabited sparkling suburbs, the Lost mostly stayed put. Nearly half never lived in a house or apartment with 2 or more bedrooms and bathroom. In 1985, compared to a typical GI retiree in his late 60s, a surviving Lost elder, who was at least 20 years older, had 1/3 less total income, received 1/5 less in Social Security, was far less likely to have a private pension or his own home, and was roughly twice as likely to live in poverty. So the boomers were like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to get more poor as we get older. We're going to get more rich and we're going to hoard it all. And so all of y'all can suck it. That's kind of what happened.
And I think the Lost generation were just like, whatevs. We don't need you.
Yeah, right. They just really got discarded. They came in, dropped the bomb, and then we're like, peace out. That's basically what the Lost generation did. The Lost life cycle in youth, page 255. Never has youth been exposed to such dangers of both perversion and arrest as in our own land and day. Thomas Wolfsoon wondered what has happened to the spontaneous gaiety of youth. Children who are without innocence, born old and stale and dull and empty, suckled on darkness and weaned on violence and noise. They tried to shut their eyes. Yeah. We children did not shut our eyes. We saw and we knew. Some did well, but a larger number did badly, living and dying by their new credo, it's up to you. These kids were already paying the dues of independence. Also, in the coming of age, which I found very interesting, this generation, college students of the Lost generation, were more conservative than their professors because they too often regard college as a backdoor to big business. Which I thought was very interesting. Because now, if you go through all of the college professors, I mean, I guess now you'd have to be more conservative than your college professors because 99% of them vote Democrat. So you'd almost have to be, but I don't think you can be. College is an interesting place. College campuses.
I miss college.
It was a good time.
I get to drive around my alma mater every now and again. About once
yeah? Where'd you go?
UCLA.
Oh, right on. I almost went to USC. I had a scholarship offer.
You should have.
Yeah, I just
would have. You probably would have come back. You would have gone back to the Midwest, I'm sure, because
I probably would have. Yeah,
you crazy.
Yeah,
but you would get a real interesting understanding of life on the West Coast that the rest that people who've never lived on the West Coast don't quite grasp.
Right.
You know, there's definitely I know that being a West Coaster is we are who we are.
Yep. Just like being Midwesterners or Southerners. I mean, we all have our own little way of life and a way of doing things. And I was going to go, the plan was to go to USC film school. And, yeah, I mean, and that was the thing. Like, I wanted to work in television and film, and I felt that was the way to go. But the scholarship they offered me was only going to cover about 40% of tuition, and tuition was so expensive even back then.
Yeah, well,
that it was ultimately the money that made me decide to go to KU. But yeah, I almost went to USC, went and visited, been out there. But yeah, didn't. Ended up going. I went to Baylor University for my freshman year, and then went to University of Kansas the rest of the time. Got my degree from there. But
it's funny too, because like if you'd gone to USC, you probably never would have left downtown.
I never would have what?
Would have left the downtown SC campus area because
probably not. This was the mid 90s, so it would have been 95, 96 when I was going to go out there. Mm-hmm. But it was a really great time for independent film. And the TV business was booming, and I considered it, but I decided ultimately I just didn't want to put myself in that kind of debt. It is what it is. Page 259. Let's see. What do I got here? Oh, talking about the lost generation, about Eisenhower, like kind of got pushed out. It came in, Truman and Eisenhower, or Truman dropped the bomb. Eisenhower came in to clean things up, and then they got kicked to the curb. And in return, after musing over the new cult of bigness and energy, Eisenhower offered a farewell warning against what he labeled the military-industrial complex, which I think is one of the most famous presidential speeches of the 20th century. Thank you, Eisenhower.
And gave the baby boomers a term to rail against.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, their exit from public eye was sudden and complete. Literally, by the time Kennedy was taking longer strides in 1961, the lost already seemed an antediluvian memory. Old well mayors and tobacco-chewing Dixiecrats, fading bureau chiefs like J. Edgar Hoover and Louis Hershey, grimy mobsters like Lucky Luciano and Truman's Pendergast hacks, all gone. A decade later, a few lost survivors saw their image revive. But yeah, they came in and they were gone. Like I said, they came in to drop bombs and then bounced. How many chapters left after today in part 2? We are not going to get through the Great Power Cycle today. We're going to stop here after the loss, and we're going to do the GIs and the boomers next week. I'm sorry, the boomers and the silent next week. The GIs and the silent next week. I'll get there.
That's okay.
I know. So these next up, we only have one more chapter after this in part 2, but these chapters are going to be split into 2 weeks because there's so much information, so big. And once we get into the millennial cycle, that could go 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, the millennial cycle could be really slow. It just kind of depends how we go here. How fast we get through it. But yeah, one more chapter in part 2.
Yeah, we're going to take a while probably because they're the ones that were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling adventurous, you invite me to Washington State, you think we can make a go of it? You're sweet. I would never live on the West Coast, but thank you very much. I will visit. It's a beautiful place. Would never live there. I'm a Midwest girl, ride or die. So.
Honestly, outside of the major cities, California is very, very Midwestern like.
Yeah, there's some smaller towns like once you go farther inland towards Nevada and stuff.
Yeah. San Diego's back country's pretty close. Yeah.
Now San Diego
pretty close.
San Diego was I haven't been to San Diego since the 90s, but it was very beautiful when I visited.
I lived there for 7 years.
So they got cut out of the public eye. They got dropped, but it says here that's how the lost preferred it. No favors for a generation that always knew deep down they were bad boys. Having grown up in an age of horse carts and Russian czars, they grew old feeling like aliens in their junior's space age world. And I see Gen X a lot in this because we grew up in the 70s and the early 80s. and like in the age of horse carts and Russian czars for, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And now we're living in the space age world of AI and everything. So I feel a lot of this with us. Am I totally being silly with that, or do you see it?
My great grandmother was in this generation, and I knew her, and yeah, she was they were very independent, but she's very, 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 very independent. You know, divorced her husband, came to America at age 14, age 17, left her entire everything behind.
Wow.
Never talked about it.
That's just crazy.
She was in a union. She was very unionized, and she lived on her own for the rest of her life, and was very, very independent. So, I feel like that after reading everything about this the Lost Generation, I really did feel like, yeah, they were very analogous to the Boomer, or to us. To
Gen X. Yep. Yeah, I definitely felt it
because of how they got treated, by their previous generation, and also how the next two generations treated them.
Right. Especially, and then I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, especially the way the Boomers treated them.
Yeah, and then all the technological changes that happened in their lifetime, and the going from the horse and buggy to the space program.
From urban to rural,
Yeah, rural to urban, yeah.
And industrialization and modernization, and going from indoor plumbing to outdoor plumbing to indoor plumbing, all that.
Yeah, air conditioning. I can't imagine. Like, I'd like to think that back then I could have been somebody like your great grandmother that would have just been like, I'm gonna go for it. Let's do this. But like even now, like we know more about the other side of the world than any other American in the past 250 years because of our communication, because of the internet. Sure. But I don't know if I could be like, all right, let's go move there, or let's go move wherever. Like, and to do it so unknowing, like to go from one part of the world to another part of the world back then, that takes some balls. I can't imagine being able to do that. So that's pretty cool. These were a special breed of people. As the last,
they were hardy.
Yes, they were. Very.
I live in Los Angeles and I love it. But I was born here, and I try to make the best of it, and I really try to look at all the things that Los Angeles has to offer, and I try to really downplay the negatives, because there really is a lot to like. And, if you let it down, you can go anywhere and find things that annoy you.
Well, that's definitely true. That's definitely the case.
Is traffic bad? Yeah.
Right.
Drive for a living too. Is it bad? Yeah. But,
all right.
It's my cross to bear.
Say that again.
It's my cross to bear.
Yeah. That's right. If you choose it, if you want to stay there, that's that's up to you.
Yeah,
go for it.
I can go down to the beach.
All right. I'm gonna read the last part of this section on the Lost, and then we will wrap things up. As the last generation to come of age without electronic media, the Lost stand as America's most gifted cadre of wordsmiths. They won 5 of America's 9 Nobel Prizes for literature and produced our culture's most memorable song lyrics from Cole Porter and Oscar Hammerstein. Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington introduced improvisational jazz, America's first naughty-sounding music. These are lasting gifts from a generation for whom, in Dorothy Parker's words, art is a form of catharsis, an instinctive response to a whirlwind existence. In their entertainment was a no-nonsense lesson about how the individual can maintain his sanity in a harsh and unjust world. Living is a struggle, wrote Thornton Wilder in The Skin of Our Teeth. Every good and excellent thing in the world stands moment by moment on the razor edge of danger and must be fought for, whether it's a field, a home, or a country. Paul Tillich said, our generation has seen the horrors latent in man's being rise to the surface and erupt. Do you want to read the last part? The last paragraph here?
Sure.
Thank you.
With little philosophizing, the law did history's dirty work. Attacking Belowood, mapping D-Day, dropping A-bombs. Whatever they did, they half expected history to someday blame them. In some cases, history has. For Earl Warren's internment of the Japanese Americans, for example, or Dixiecrat foot-dragging on civil rights. Yet mostly the loss showed unthanked kindness to other generations. After fighting in 2 world wars and bearing the brunt of the Great Depression, the peers of Truman and Eisenhower accepted without complaint 91% marginalized tax rates to balance the budget, liquidate war debt, finance the Marshall Plan, and pay out generous GI benefits. They demonstrated, as Bruce Barton put it, that a man may be down, but he is never out. When it was up to them, they did indeed play the sap for their elders and juniors. Such sacrifices made possible an era their children and grandchildren now nostalgically recall as the American high. Yet the loss taught us more self-effacing goodwill. From George Patton leading GIs in the Battle of the Bulge to George Burns tutoring 13ers in 18 again.
Yep.
They showed us something about what to call guts. So too did they remind us how to have a good time by being just a little bad. As Malcolm Cowley put it, did other generations ever laugh so hard together, drink and dance so hard, or do crazier things just for the hell of it?
Oh, I felt that. I felt that in my bones. Oh, man.
I like the Lost Generation. They remind me of us. And yeah,
Yeah.
I laugh.
I kind of like it. I'm gonna look for some. I'm gonna look for some videos about the Lost Generation or some stuff because I'd really like to dive in more to them. I think they're so fascinating.
Well, also what's really interesting is they're the only other generation that was named.
Yeah,
they were concurrent.
while they were around. Yeah, and it came from themselves.
Their own.
Yeah, by one of their own.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Talking about
I think it's going to be very interesting next week when we get into the GI generation to see how well they mirror millennials, if at all. Because I feel so close to the Lost as a Gen Xer. I'm interested to see because I didn't dive into this. This is where I stopped because there was just so much, and I was note taking and going back, so I stopped right here. So I have not read the rest of the chapter yet, but I'm interested to see how well they look to millennials as the Lost does to Gen X.
I did. I read the whole, but that's okay.
They had speakeasies, we had raves. That's right. I love that.
Making a comeback too.
Huh?
Speakeasies are making a comeback.
They are. A lot of very classic things are, and I think that's a lot of our generation's cross to bear is that, again, we're the last ones that remember the before times, really remember the before times. And so if we don't pull that in and show the young kids, they'll never really know. They'll only know through a lens of whatever narrative they're taught about whatever. That's the thing. It's like we get such narratives about the people that came before us from our history or our news or whatever, but it's kind of really interesting to really go in and see a different perspective of human beings in the olden times. They weren't all dumb. They weren't all, Neanderthals. They did have some brains, and they built quite an amazing world. And this was a time when the world just went from old way of life to the new space age. And what a shock that must have been. I have to think that it would be very similar to what we're about to get through with the AI stuff. We haven't even scratched the surface on AI yet. and what it can do in our society and how it's going to affect our lives. And I think we're going to go through something very similar that The Lost had to do back then as well. So, anyways, I'm really enjoying this chapter. I found it very interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I hope I didn't bore everyone too much over the last couple of hours, even though I got called out for being boring. I've never discussed a book like this before on camera, so I'm doing my best. I hope this isn't entertaining to y'all or interesting to y'all. But yeah, exactly. That's what my channel is all about. I'm teaching the youth of our ways, and that's really truly the underlying premise of everything I do on my channel, is to try to pass down our experiences and our knowledge and find a place to keep it. So, some kids will someday be like, oh, oh, yay, not boring. Yay. Hashtag not boring. Woo. Yeah. I wouldn't be here either if I found this boring. I'm just trying to figure out an entertaining way to discuss things. So, but again, when you're discussing, it's like being in class. When you're discussing a textbook, it's not going to be like telling a story in a movie or whatever. So once we get to the fourth turning, if you guys have not read that yet, we are going to have some lively Tuesday nights.
You ain't kidding, boy. That fourth turning, that's going to be, you guys, if you haven't, it will blow your mind.
It will blow your mind. And there's
reading that book, and you'll be in the middle of a passage, and you'll be like,
like, wait, what?
Oh my God, what?
Was this really written in 1997?
This is happening. Oh shit.
And I think reading Generations will make it even more mind-blowing, because this sets all the groundwork for why the fourth turning is so relevant and interesting. Because if you don't, you can go into it without reading Generations, but I think you're going to enjoy it 10x by having the foundations of Generations.
And pay attention to the world around you right now.
Yes. We are in it.
What's the old Chinese proverb? May you live in interesting times.
Is attendance part of our final grade? Absolutely it is. Of course. It always contributes. At least 20%.
Don't forget participation.
We are reading 13th Gen next, only because it's focusing our generation, but I don't know. Should we read fourth turning next and then go to 13th Gen? Or what do you guys think? I'm going to put it out to you guys. If you would rather go ahead and do the fourth turning first and then 13th Gen, I would be open to that. What do you think, Rendleson?
As much as I'm so super ego and want to learn all about us,
mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, because the 13th Gen is still, it's not finished.
Right.
I think we could even almost skip it and just switch to the fourth turning, because it's good of a, we're not a done generation, and I think I don't think it's that helpful to go back and see what we didn't do.
Right. Well, and the 13th Gen was written, it was basically the first book that truly identified our generation and gave it some of its traits. It doesn't fit into the Generations and fourth turning in that way. It's an outlier. They wrote one about Gen X, and they wrote one about millennials.
Yeah, and we're going to skip Millennials Rising too.
Yeah, we're going to skip Millennials Rising completely. Well,
because
how about this?
The thing is fourth turning touches on all of the things that the characteristics of Gen X that are important,
right?
Through and also lays groundwork for where we are now, and especially the fourth turning, the fourth book. The second fourth turning book.
How about this? How about we read the fourth turning next, and then we read 13th Gen in between the fourth turning and the fourth turning is here.
Sure.
How does that sound?
Sure.
Because I really do want to get into the fourth turning. There are so many videos and interviews with Strauss and Howe over the fourth turning. There's so much stuff to watch and discuss, especially since we are literally in the middle of the fourth turning. So I think that'd be a good idea if we go fourth turn. How do you guys feel? Fourth turning next, and then we go 13th gen, and then fourth turning is here.
We're a democracy.
It's not controversial. I want to for my own mind, because 13th gen is really good, but it's an outlier of a book.
Yeah,
so I think it'd be good to get in the middle. Yeah. And it was about Gen X in 1993. So
right. That's the other part that because that's 30 years of commentary on our first 20 years.
Right.
They're missed a lot, I mean,
yeah.
So I want to, I'll go read it. I'll read it again, but it's not. I'm much more interested in the fourth turning books, right, where we're going from here. Generations, I think we had to read, because if you didn't read it, you wouldn't understand the fourth turning at all.
Right.
So
plus it puts their theory into perspective and how they came to it, and it just supports this generational cycle theory. And really explains it really well, because once you read this and then you go into the fourth turning will be a very easy read, because you'll have all of this foundation from generations. So let's do it. After we finish generations, we'll do fourth turning, and then we'll do 13th gen, and then we'll do fourth turning is here. 13th gen is going to be a short book club. It'll probably take us 2, maybe 3 weeks to go through it.
Cool. I mean, yeah, and that's the other thing. It's not as not as heavy duty.
Not at all.
It will be interesting to see how much we agree with their assessments of our past and what their predictions are versus what actually came about and what we actually feel today as Gen Xers. Because, wow, I mean, we are really starting to feel our middle age.
And in 93, we were just hitting the scene.
We were babies.
Yeah. I mean, Nirvana had only been out a couple of years. Reality Bites had just come out. Like, we weren't even we were just starting to make a mark on culture.
Kurt wasn't dead yet.
Yeah, Kurt wasn't dead yet. So, like, it's really hard to. I like the book for what it is, but anyways, so yeah, we're gonna put that in between the fourth turning, and fourth turning is here, but I want to go ahead and get into the fourth turning, because you guys are gonna absolutely love it, and I have a feeling that our book club's gonna get really big during that book. I'm getting a lot of replays on these book clubs, just so you know. So I mean, I'm getting hundreds of views on the replay. So even if you're we don't have more than 20-30 people here at a time, which I'm so grateful for you guys that are showing up live. I super appreciate it. But yeah, so the book club is a little bit bigger than you might think. And I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger with the fourth turning.
Rachel, you should change your username to the Rachel turning.
Yes.
You can change your username, by the way, in YouTube. Mine was something else, and I changed it to Reynolds.
Yep. You can change it.
You can change it if you want. Phantom 2040 came out in 1994. I liked Phantom 20.
My goodness. Yay, thank you for hanging up, Dan. Appreciate it. Yep, the boomers did not understand Nirvana. But see, the crazy thing is that right when Gen X was taking over pop culture in 91, 92, 93, the boomers were taking over the government. The boomers were taking over politics. Right. So we had gotten boomer culture in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. We had gotten all their music and their movies and their stuff. But then they took over government. So I'm wondering if X will do the same thing. We put out our culture in the 90s and the aughts. Now is the time to take over government.
Nikati, that's actually not quite true. It is still classified as a suicide officially.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, there is there's somebody that has said it's a homicide, but
it's not anywhere near official.
Not an official, yeah, but it's definitely like kind of reopened some things and stuff. So it's very interesting. Yay, watching the replays. Woohoo! All right, well, if you guys know of any fellow Gen Xers that would be interested in something like this, please tell them about our book club. We would love to have, come join us. We would love to have you in contribute to this discussion. I just find this fascinating. I'm having a great time. So next Tuesday, we will finish up the Great Power Cycle and probably start touching on the millennial cycle. But we're getting into the world of the boomers at that point. So it's who knows? I don't want to make us go fast and I don't want to make us go slow. We're just going to go at whatever pace it happens and we'll go from there. But we're going to take our time with some of this because it's very interesting.
There's a lot to discuss for the damn GI greatest generation.
Yes. And again, this is all the world that they built for us. This is what's being dismantled and coming apart and changing right now. So it's very interesting to see the origins.
Here's a tease for the greatest generation. 7 presidents.
Yes. 7 presidents.
7 presidents.
Out of one generation. And they almost got more. If Clinton wouldn't have been so surprising in 92. So yeah. They were very influential.
Well, one of them had 4 terms.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And thank you all very much for hanging out with us. Remember, if you don't have a copy of the book, you can find it over on the Internet Archive for free. And then Fourth Turning will be our next book. So, and that's also available on the archive, I believe, as well.
Yes,
yeah, and it's, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the Fourth Turning. Yeah.
I know we should preview the Fourth Turning.
We will. I'll set up a preview of it next week. And so for those of you that haven't read it or aren't familiar with it, it's gonna blow your mind. This book was written in 1997. So okay.
You're gonna go, were they Nostradamus?
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty. That book is what gives this whole theory its credibility to me, in ways that can't be taken away. So, and that's why Neil Howe is still one of the leading sociologists on this topic. Anyways, he has his own Substack. I'm about to subscribe to a Substack.
He hasn't reached back out to you? Huh?
No, he hasn't. He's still behind a lot of paywalls, and I thought he would be a little bit easier to contact than he has been. So it is what it is. Boomers and their paywalls and their walls they put around you to get contact with. All right. Oh, thank you, Judge Ben. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so very much. And I thank you, Grindelson, for hanging out with me and contributing, because I'm sure people don't want to hear me yak for like an hour or two. So
I'm having a blast. I'll do this as long as you'll keep having it.
Sounds good.
I think it's great, the back and forth we can
yeah.
do. It does keep it moving. It keeps it moving.
Mm-hmm. It does. And it's very, very interesting. I'm just learning so much about our ancestors, and I love that. It's just been so lost in our culture. I feel a lot that instead of being studied and critiqued and praised and all those different things, it's gone to just being all crap, like bad. They did this and they did that and they did this and they did that, and it's like, well, okay, but let's look at some context here. It's pretty interesting.
I had to tell my mom the other day, she's like, it's not just 2 hours of baby boomer bashing, is it? I'm like, no.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It's only like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I do give them some credit and sometimes, but yeah. But not all bashing. All right. Well, everybody have a great night. I will see you all back here next week at 7:00 for the rest of the Great Power Cycle. And then if you want to join me over on Discord, tomorrow night we are watching Little House and Cobra Kai. And then Thursday night is Incredible Hulk. Grendelson, thank you. I appreciate it.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all for watching. Everybody have a great night, a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.